Recently, I've been having troubles finding books I thoroughly enjoy. I would start books without ever finishing them or reading 5 books at the same time. And inevitably, I thought to myself, when will I finally find a 5-star read again? So let's find the answer to that question in this video.
This is really how I felt the past few weeks.
I just recently started reading The Dead Romantics. I'm about halfway through this one right now. This far. Okay, maybe a third. Currently I'm reading so many books at the moment. That's actually crazy. Louise Hay, Affirmations. It's German, but same thing in English. Affirmations. This is a 21-day guide, and just for those of you who don't know, I'm not rating nonfiction on this channel. I don't think that's fair, I don't think that's necessary. I think nonfiction is for a certain point in your life where you can use it. So it might be that a year ago I would not have enjoyed a book because it was not resonating with me. And maybe now I would need to read it again. And now I would give it 5 stars because I just loved it and it was resonating and it was to the perfect time in my life. So no, we're not gonna do this on this channel. Which is why I'm also reading What I Know For Sure by Oprah Winfrey. Also not going to talk about this one because this is a finding a 5-star read video, so that would be counterintuitive to show this to you. But also, people outside are crazy. Do you hear this, guys? What the hell? Okay, last one that I'm gonna show you now is The Right Move. I am also about a third through, and I've been annotating a lot. I'm actually really enjoying it, but I stopped a few days ago. I have a few fantasy books that I want to read as well. The Trial of the Sun King I recently found online, and I was like, ooh, that sounds good. I also, up here, you guys can see there are some Emily Henry books still on my shelf. And I fear, or I have the suspicion that if I read this book, this video is gonna end very quickly. So I might not do that. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if it's gonna be my cup of tea this time around, but who knows. So these are the 4 books I'm reading right now. I promise to you guys, that's not how it usually looks like. It's just that this I read every evening. I just recently started it again. This I also got to read every evening because it's a 21-day thing where you read 1 chapter every day and then it's gonna transform your life. As they all say, right? But it's actually really good. Can recommend. Yeah, and then I just went to the bookstore and picked this one up. Here we're following, what's her name? Florence, and she meets a guy who is hot and dead. Benji is his name. I gotta say I don't love it as much as 7 Years Slip. Right now I don't feel like this is gonna be a 5-star read. Shame on me. Don't tell anyone, please. And usually I don't do this. Little disclaimer, I actually had to skip to the ending a little because the way this romance was heading right now, it creeped me out. I could not handle this. Kind of ruined it for myself because, I mean, of course now I know where it's headed, so I don't really... Of course, I'm not really excited to continue reading, but also I'm excited to see how it's gonna evolve to get there. I know that sounds so stupid, I'm so sorry, but I really had to because this gave me anxiety. Like in the first few pages we had so many negative things happening and so many tragedies, and then the other guy that she finds attractive is also dead, and I'm like, I cannot handle this, you know, like please give this girl a real love story. I just had to know. I guess this is gonna, for now, I presume it's gonna lay at a 3-star for me, but let's see. Right Move, I read this right after the Mile High one. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I love it, but I feel like right now they're already a bit too lovey-dovey. They say they hate each other, so I thought, or not hate each other, but they didn't have a good impression of each other, so I was expecting a bit more tension. And there's a lot of banter going on, it's very fun. If you want to hear more coherent thoughts on this, check out my reading vlog. It has the potential of being a 5-star. But right now I would put it on a 4. Let's see what's gonna happen. I love the characters though. So I'm gonna actually start reading. I'm having my lunch break right now. I'm taking a few minutes off of work. And I'm gonna start reading The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Because I'm so curious about that one. Okay, please excuse my hair. I'm just a mess. It's already 10 p.m. But let's just talk about books for a second, okay? I did not update you in a while, but actually not much happened. I'm still reading The Right Move. It still has potential, but I'm just not getting much further. I'm still halfway. Got a few pages further in. As I said, you're gonna see my reaction in a different video on this one. I did read The Dead Romantics, also halfway. And like I already told you, I had the dilemma where I was actually spoilering myself. I did not read the ending, but I mean, of course, it kind of took the thrill of the book, but also another issue that I'm having right now is that I'm just not intrigued in the story. I just don't care about the characters as much. I feel like it's very negative. Like, it deals with a lot of topics of grief. And the 7-Year Slip dealt with grief too, but this one is next level. And right now I'm not in the headspace for it, you know? So I'm actually gonna DNF this for the moment, and I did not think I would ever say that, and I'm very disappointed, but I think I'm just gonna stop with this one for now. I don't know if I will ever pick it up again. Cannot tell you right now, but it did not hook me as of right now. And I already read how many pages? 190. So if it doesn't hook me at almost 200 pages, then I think that's a sign to stop. Then I read on my Kindle Addicted to You. This is the first book of the Addicted Colorway series. I think I'm gonna give it like a solid 3-star, maybe 3.5. You have a little small reading vlog in my Kindle video. I'm gonna link it somewhere here. It was interesting, but I did not love the first book of the Addicted series, so definitely not a 5-star, but I'm gonna continue and maybe I will find a 5-star read there. But what I'm reading right now on my Kindle is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I'm 10% in and I like it. It is that fantasy thing that I'm in the mood for right now, so it's really just a mood reading thing right now, and I'm into this. Is it gonna be a 5-star? I don't know. I kind of like the writing at times. Like, sometimes there are very beautiful quotes in there. I just don't know if it's for me. I don't know, vampires. I'm kind of out of the vampire mood. There has not been a book recently in the past few years that was about vampires that caught my attention. Nothing that really stuck to me, you know? I don't mind it right now. I don't mind it. That's all I'm gonna say to this, because it could be that it's a 5-star. I also, you can see my TBR card over there, got a lot of new books and I'm really excited to read those. I'm very positive that we're gonna find a 5-star somewhere in this video. I wanna have my hopes up for this one and this one. We have 2 potential candidates and this one is out of the race for now. And I started listening to an audiobook again, which is Silver by Kerstin Gier. I used to read this when I was little, like 10, 11, 12. I don't even remember how old I was. I was a young teenager, let's put it that way. And back then I loved this series. She is a German author and she released 2 trilogies. Oh my god, they were so good back then. Right now, I'm almost like halfway with the audiobook, not loving it. I don't know what's happening. I'm like, it's fine, you know? I thought I would be hooked on the romance. The romance doesn't catch me at all. And it used to, you know, I was so into it. And now I'm not anymore. So, also a disappointment. Also probably gonna be a 3-star or something. I don't know. Or a DNF at this point. I don't feel like I'm getting into a reading slump. But I'm not continuing reading, you know? Okay, I read Addicted to You. I think the Kindle actually helps me a lot right now because I just got this in the mail and it really helps me to stick to my reading again. I think that's what I needed. But also there are a lot of other books on my TBR that I'm curious about, like Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I also need to finish a series that I've started, which is the Poison Princess series. Then I'm also interested in Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I also got on my Kindle now just for the summer, which I'm also really curious about. I'm very positive about this. Like, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna find something. But I'm gonna continue Serpent and the Wings of Night now. This book. What the hell is happening here? So I'm currently, let me show you. It's waking up. One sec. I'm currently on part 7. Night. What has been happening? The thing is, I like the book, but I don't love it yet, you know? That's what I wanted to tell you before, because the first half I was like not really into it, not that crazily. Then things started to happen with the romance, and now we got a plot twist, and I did not expect that plot twist at all. So listen, I already had a theory, and I knew what would happen, sort of, and it actually did end up happening kind of like that. But then something else happened, and I was like, what? My jaw was on the floor. I cannot wrap my head around what just happened. I don't know how they're gonna recover from this. That's what I always say in every fantasy book, but I really don't know. It's giving 4 to 4.5, you know? But like, for a 5-star, it didn't give me the emotions in the beginning, and I don't feel attached enough to the characters. That's just what it is. I don't love her as a main character, and I'm also not really rooting that badly for him. He's sweet. I like him. He's not sane, for example. You know, it's just what it is. But what the hell? I just needed to talk to you guys. I'm unwell. I don't understand this. I just want to continue reading at this point, and I'm almost done. I'm like over 90% in it, so I'm gonna definitely finish this today. But as of right now, 4.5, I think. I think it's a good thing to settle on that. But that was heavy. I almost cried, really. I was like completely done. Still can't believe it. I can't. What is going on here? Let me give you a little update. So I finished Crowns of Nixia, the first novel. The ending, still in shock, to be honest. Really excited for the second one. But I just started Six Scorched Roses. I'm over halfway, I think 60% or something into it. Really like it, really flying through it. I don't know if it's a 5-star, but they're both rated pretty highly for me. I think I'm gonna give them like 4.5. That's at least how I feel. But also it's a novella, so it kind of gives me powerful vibes. And I'm a bit afraid of the ending, to be honest. I don't know what I can expect of that. I've also been puzzling today, so I'm listening to my audiobook Silver, which I'm starting to enjoy a bit more again. But I also started reading yesterday a non-fiction book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. I'm flying through this one. Like, I'm already on page 70, and I think that's the fastest I've ever read a non-fiction book. This is about creativity and getting that spark back of your creativity, which she here calls big magic. And it's also a lot about writing, which is really interesting. So it's like a very interesting storyline. I feel like it also helps me with being creative, not only on YouTube, but also with writing. So there are a lot of different aspects that I'm interested in. So I really love this one, and I'm gonna keep you posted on how it's going. So let's do a brief recap, because I've been doing quite some reading, but I've also recently moved out of my apartment in Munich. So there has been a lot of stuff going on, hence why I did not update you. But I read a few ebooks and I listened to a few audiobooks. A little heads up, there was no 5-star in between. I think the first one I wanted to update you on was The Serpent and the Wings of Night, because you saw me reading this one, and I mean, you saw my reaction to the ending. I feel like the ending really knocked it out of the park on that one. I feel like that was the best part of the book. I was not a huge fan in the beginning. I don't know, it took me a while to get into it. So for me it was a 4-star. It was solid, but it was not as mind-blowing as I thought it would be. Let me get out my Kindle actually, because I read quite a few books on that one. Then I read Six Scorched Roses quite after that, because I wanted to stay in that world. It was cute. I told you that I thought it would have a negative ending, which I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it's not anything remotely close to the Powerful novel, which connects to the Powerless series by Lauren Roberts. It doesn't have a similar vibe at all, so that was wrong of me to presume. And I liked that one, and I think we're gonna see the characters in the upcoming book, because I want to read The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King next, or soon at least, because I think we're gonna see those characters, or at least I'm gonna play into it, because otherwise why would even have a novella, right? Like, why would she write one if it doesn't connect with those characters at all? I'm still 55% into The Right Move. I don't know, I cannot get into it. Maybe it's me. I am the problem, it's me, because apparently everyone loves it so much that I really feel like it's like my own fault. I started reading The Artist's Way as well. I'm 12% into that one. Like it so far, but I don't have the time right now to follow it. My life is just evolving and changing very fast right now. So I want to have time to actually do the entire program. And I started journaling in the morning, but I don't know what the program actually entails. So I will want to read that book once I'm actually having the time to get into all of that. Other than that, I did finish Addicted to You. I think I talked to you about that one. And right now I'm on the second book in the series, which is Ricochet, and it's an addicted novel. So it's an in-between type of thing between the first and the third book. That's how it usually goes. Between 1 and 3 is the 2. Okay, I'm 55% into that one. I like the characters. I feel like it's a very character-driven book. So if you're not into the characters or not into the family, I don't think you're gonna like it actually, like this entire series. I have high hopes for the upcoming few books in the series though. I feel like it's gonna evolve and progress into a better way. These are all the books I read on my Kindle as far as I'm aware, or right now in the middle of, which are a lot, as I told you already. I also finished Big Magic, and let me tell you, this book has done quite some big magic on me. It's about creativity and how you can unleash your creativity, and also creative living beyond fear, and that's exactly what it is, and I loved this book. This is the fastest I've ever read a non-fiction book in my entire life. I think I read this in 2 days. Especially the first half of this book, I felt like it was written for me. Like, not for me, I know that sounds weird. If you want to understand me and my brain, read the first half of this book, and that's basically me in a nutshell. Like, it was just very touching. I almost cried. It's not a topic that you cry about, you know, but I just felt so seen. It was deeply healing for me in some type of way. So if I were to rate non-fiction books, which I do not do on this channel, but if I were to, this would probably get a 5-star or at least 4.5, but I don't. So we're gonna continue this video, but this will always have a special place in my heart, and I can see myself picking this one up quite a lot of times still. I listened to the audiobook of Silver. Did I talk to you about this? I feel like I did, but there's not much to talk about actually. Sometimes you should just leave things untouched, you know? That's what I learned. And it was interesting to analyze her writing style and why it was as successful as it was. Because right now when I look back on it, I feel like it wasn't as life-altering as it used to be for me. It's just because I got older and I see things differently now. And I did not love the series. There's a series on Amazon Prime, or a movie? No, it's a movie actually. Yeah, also called Silver. You can save yourself the time, don't watch it. Like, the book is better, but I'm not into it anymore. And I don't know why, I just was cringing sometimes. So I feel like now it would be a 3-star. Back then it was a 5-star. So it's like really, sometimes leave the past in the past, you know? I feel like that's a better option. And beginning of the month of August now, I listened to the entirety of the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I have some thoughts on this. I need coffee for that one. Oh my. Like, what the hell? I loved the series. I was addicted. I really wanted to know how it ends, you know, hence why I read or listened to the series, so that I could finish it and know what would happen in the Amazon Prime series in the third part, you know, because I was so curious. I've read To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han, and I then started reading the second one. The first one I really loved, the second one I did not like. It was a few years ago, like I don't really recall anymore, but that's just me telling you that I already had some experience with the author, and now listening to it, it was really easy to listen to, not gonna lie. But Belly as a character I could not stand anymore. So annoying, and like she didn't have a character. Like, you cannot tell me that that's our main protagonist because she had no real character to herself, and she was just always talking about what other people were doing. So you might as well could have put it in third person. No one would have known, you know, there would have been no difference, literally. Like, that's how bad it was. I did not feel the love and the romance prickling as much as I did in the series. I was like, what is going on? Where's the romance? I don't feel it, you know? It was just sheer obsession from her point. I did not notice a time where Conrad liked her, and Jeremiah also came out of nowhere. Like, him liking her, I was like, what? Like, what is happening? So the first one, I gave it a chance, and I was like, okay, so it kind of reminded me of the bubbly feeling that you had when you were in your teenage years, as if I'm so old, but no, like when you're a teenager and you start to like a boy, and maybe they don't like you back, but maybe they do, all that obsessing over someone. It got me back to that time. Not really necessarily a time that I want to remember, but I did, and for the melancholy of it all and the nostalgia, I was like, okay, I can give this 3 stars because it was fine, you know? It was a good plot. I liked that in the book there was not the entire storyline of her being a pageant, because I was so done with this. I hated that storyline in the series, and I'm glad it wasn't in the books. And then the second one, suddenly it went a bit downhill, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I still don't connect to the characters. It was still not it for me. So 2.5. And then the third one, this was one of the most rough experiences I've ever had while reading a book or listening to a book. I felt sick to my stomach. I was like, what is going on here? I was really about to DNF this because I was like, this is the most stupid thing I've ever heard. The thing we're talking about in this entire book was so unnecessary. It was so stupid, and I feel like you could have just resolved it in a minute, and then for all of it to not even have a proper ending, I was like, for what did I waste my time, you know? I'm glad I did not have to sit down and read it. I'm glad I was able to listen to it and do other things and spend my lifetime more productive than I would have if I would have read it, because this was just a pure waste of time. Now I at least know how it ends, so that's something, I guess. But can I recommend it to you? No. Like, I'm sorry. This was one of the books where I did not understand how this could have been turned into a series. And then I thought about it and I was like, okay, it's very simply written. So basically what you have right there is an entire screenplay. Because everything is just he says, she says, blah, blah, blah. And we don't get a character description of Belly. So I understand that it would be easier, you know? Like, it's a pretty simple thing, an easy thing to put into a series. I'm just confused how they made something so magical out of this entire concept that was basically just, you know, because how did this become so popular? That's something I don't understand, and I don't think I ever will. Maybe I'm too old for it. Like, maybe that's also it. Sometimes it's just, if you grow up, you see things in a different light, and maybe a few years ago I would have loved it and eaten it up, but now I don't anymore. So, quite a disappointment. That's that. What am I currently reading? I started Summer Romance. I started a ton of books, it feels like. Started Summer Romance. I want to read that one now. And after that one, I want to read Evi Jimenez Just for the Summer. That's what's on my reading list for now. And I think now we have it. You're all back on track with what I've been reading and what I've been up to the past few weeks. And it's been a crazy ride and a crazy journey. And there's still not a 5-star, which I hope there's light at the end of the tunnel somewhere, and I hope the tunnel ends soon because I'm a bit done. I'm almost crying over a quote. I'm gonna read it to you guys. I can't. Sometimes I feel like the seasons could come and go and come and go. 100 years could pass, 1,000. The ground could collapse under us. This house could crumble and go back to the earth, and we would still be standing here frozen in time. Because every second I'm with you is eternal. I've never felt anything like it. Yeah. And I've never felt anything like this book. Oh god. I am thrilled and sad to announce that I found myself a 5-star read. And the one we're talking about here is Just for the Summer by Evi Jimenez. You couldn't hear my thorough thoughts on this in my other video where I read the highest and lowest ranked books on my summer TBR. So if you're curious on more thoughts about this one, check that video out. But oh my gosh, these characters have my heart. It actually changed me. And I didn't think a romance book would ever do that. I didn't think I could say that about a romance book. I just flew through this one and I loved it. Really, really did. The hype for this one, in my opinion, is definitely valid. And I can recommend it to you. Really, big recommendation. So this video has been dragged out over so many long weeks and almost months, I even think. Which makes it a bit weird to say that it's finally over and that it's finished. And I gave you so many insights on so many different books. And I'm really happy that we actually ended up with this one, because I didn't think this would be as good as it is, because I had my expectations very, very high and they were exceeded. And that doesn't happen so often. Let me know if you've read any of the books I've talked about in this video yet. I would love to hear from you. And with that, have a beautiful and blissful day, and I'm gonna see you next week. Bye!